Hi guys, it's your girl Jadida, and today I am not just welcoming you to another episode but to another amazing month. So yes guys, we finally marched successfully into the month of March. Guys, I don't know about you, but so far this year has been moving really fast for me. But we're grateful it's moving and we're still here to move along with it. I hope everything has been going really well according to plans, and if not, I just hope you're able to quickly identify what needs fixing, what needs to get done, and you're just able to get it to work really fast, right? But at the end of the day, we have to take it one day at a time, one step at a time. You might not have everything figured out yet, but just deal with today, deal with the first step, deal with the level you're in, and gradually as you move you'll find clarity and you just see everything moving a lot better than you thought. Okay, so happy new month guys, and I wish you an amazingly massively productive month. Okay, now I have to apologize in advance. There's been a lot of stuff going on, so you might hear one or two noise in the background. Please just bear with me for today. I will try to not happen again. Just bear with me just for today. Okay, thank you so much. So today's episode is going to be centered around money. Yeah, it's still stories from people, but all the stories are centered around money, and I chose to do this particular episode in this way because I just couldn't help but notice the amount of things that has been happening, like the number of things that have been happening lately, all related to money. You hear things that the ears are not even supposed to hear. You hear things that people have been doing and are still doing in the name of getting money. You hear situations that people have found themselves into because they've gotten money or because they don't have enough money. You just hear a lot of things that have happened to people. You see how people's lives have changed all around, and you see how people's lives have been messed up terribly, all because of money. And this is a very sensitive topic. It is very important as well, as sensitive as it is, because we have made a lot of mistakes when it comes to our dealings with money, and yet some people have made really smart decisions when it comes to their dealings with money. So the hope is that we're going to get just one or two experiences, pick out lessons from there that might help us, that could help us make better decisions subsequently when it comes to our dealings with money. Now, when I say about these dealings, it doesn't have to be the things that you do to get the money. No, you might actually do legit, honest things to get the money, but what do you do afterwards? What do you do when you have gotten the money, when you have the money? Or what do you do to get the money? Or how do you live without the money? You get? So it's just going to be, it's centered around money, but it's every other thing, like every other thing around it. So without further ado, let's just go straight to today's stories. Sometime in 2012, I wrote JAM and GCE without knowing where money for the said higher education would come from. I was working and saving while trying to cater for small family needs. One day in church, after gaining admission, I walk up to this lady and I give her a summary of my issue and literally beg for my acceptance fee. She was kind enough to give me 8,000 naira at the time. Guys, 8,000 naira was big money then. That was like 8-9 years ago. While I was collecting it and expressing gratitude, there was a tiny nagging feeling of embarrassment and a ginger to make sure I make it, because it was mixed feelings. Fast forward to registration, my auntie calls through my uncle and tells me she and her husband will cater for my schooling. My joy knew no bounds. I was still saving whatever I could. I got a scholarship in 200 level and was relieved, kinda, because I was no longer dependent on my auntie and her husband. They were proud too. The lady that helped with my acceptance fee was proud as well. I, on the other hand, in addition to pride, was picking on a character or habit. I had learned to save more and be intentional about money. I plan and save a lot when it comes to money because I have this fear of not planning properly and having to resort to walking up to a random person. I flex well too, In all, that situation taught me my first lesson in financial capability and balance. thank you for this very story. It's amazing to just know how long some people have been saving. It is just amazing to know for how long some people have built up certain characters when it comes to dealing with money. You know, being able to have started saving as far back as 8-9 years ago, you can just imagine the person's strength now in the area of savings. I don't even want to talk about in how they are able to generate the money they save or anything. No, in just the idea of saving, because a lot of us do get our hands on a lot of money. Like, it might not be consistent, like the money that comes in, it might not be consistent in that amount, in a huge amount, but because of its lack of consistency, if we don't save it well, if we don't save it well, it's as good as it not coming in, because you can't even account for it. You can't even I am happy that someone had been able to learn how to save far back as 9 years ago. My goodness, how I wish. But I'm trying to not say so much till the end of all the stories, since they are all related to money. So let's go to the next story, guys. So I had some money saved up in my piggy vest. I was just looking at this money like, what are you doing sitting in my account when you can be multiplied somewhere? So I decided to invest in this investment company my cousin worked for. She vouched for them because I never fancy such things, but because she's the one, I decided to invest. Long story short, after some months, it crashed. I can't explain how I felt throughout this period, but thank God, Sha. Never again would I indulge myself in such. Never. Guys, she put the never in capital letter to emphasize it. Never. They claim to be approved by the government, but yet your funds can be secured or accounted for. Never will I indulge myself in such again. Wow. This is another case of savings, but then we move to the next level, which is saving and investing. So after this particular person is able to control herself to save that much amount of money and decide to invest, just like that, the money goes away, just like that. And it is instances like this that get people into really messed up states of mind in certain cases. It is instances like this that get people to just, I don't want to use the word crash, I don't want to use the word crash, but it just really messes up with someone. And I know they say it's investment. There are risks involved, and we just have to know that it's a 50-50 chance. It might work and it might not work. But how many of those 50 chances working have we seen? There's been so many stories of investments just going like that in the air, no explanation, nothing, and we have no right to say anything. We have no one to even go and complain to. Now, I'm sure you must have heard this saying that it's not enough to save. Go ahead and invest it. It's of no use just saving and keeping it in the account. The value is diminishing and all that. Invest and multiply it and have your money work for you. But how many of these investments actually work? How many of these investments are actually genuine? How many of these investments can we literally vouch for? Because it's really painful for you to deny yourself this money, save it, and then not being able to just get your money back. It's really painful. So I don't even know, how do we get to identify legit investments? We know there are risks involved, but how do we identify legit investments? Because guys, I have a lot of these stories of investments that just come and they give you such a good plan, you go with it, you work with it, and that's all. They just tell you government restricted them, you just hear it didn't work out, you just say, and there's nothing you can do about it again. So in fact, I think this is like a question: how do we get to know the actual investments to go into? How do we know for sure that this is going to work and this is not going to work? Because like she said, her cousin worked there and vouched for it. So this is something that really looked genuine. and just like that, it just became something else. So how do we identify the right investment companies to invest in? If you have ideas about these things, please just drop it in the comment section so that we can go over it and just find a way out, just find answers to all of these questions and find a way forward for ourselves. Thank you for sharing this story. I don't even know what else to say, but we can't give up. We'll start all over again, save all over again, and hopefully find ways to invest again, because honestly speaking, the truth is, saving your money and just keeping it, the value is diminishing. We cannot even deny that fact. What was 500 naira 2 months ago is like 800 naira today. So what's the use of just keeping your money when you know that when you come to use it, it will give you half of its value? We really do need to invest it. We do need to find ways to make it work for us. But how do we identify them? I hope you can find answers and just help you out. Okay, thank you so much for sharing. I found myself in a pool of debts I couldn't even properly account for. So let's backtrack. I'm a young girl who is in her mid-20s, but before I got to my mid-20s, I was already doing well financially. I mean, at 23, I was already earning quite well, 6 figures to be precise. I could afford the basic things I needed, and to an extent, I can say I was comfortable, as I'm not one who has a lot of responsibilities. As time went by, business became quite bad, and with each passing day, it got worse. I of course had to keep showing up and trying as much as I can to not give people even the slightest clue that I was struggling. I ended up making rash decisions which I count as contributing factors as to why I'm in my present state now. I'll list them. Firstly, business was bad. I wasn't getting as much as I was getting, but because I couldn't afford to let people notice, I had to maintain the lifestyle I had already created and gotten used to. Instead of adjusting and living according to my means, I maintained same lifestyle, thereby living above my means, because I actually wasn't getting as much as I used to. Secondly, in a quest to bounce back and get back on my feet, I took decisions and made expenses which I'll say was risky, and I didn't really sit to consider well. I was just in a hurry to be back on my feet instead of taking it slowly and going through the process. Some of the decisions I made weren't completely foolish. They were just decisions I couldn't afford, hence I had to borrow, thereby damning the consequences. Permit me to add, yes, taking risks in business is good, but there are risks we can't afford, and such risks can be said to be unhealthy and not worth taking. Trying to please people contributed a whole lot. People felt I was doing okay financially, hence they kept tendering requests of needing my assistance in both little and major ways. I'm not one to always say no to people. Even when I don't have, I look for. The whole idea of just telling someone I can't help after the person tenders a request to me was one I could barely do. Hence, I'd rather give my last money or borrow and give. I forgot to add this was a major reason I couldn't save, even though I'm bad at saving. Thirdly, not being able to keep proper accounts of every income and expenditure was a contributing factor too. Spending money just anyhow without a budget to serve as a guide. I'm still a work in progress. Those were mistakes I made, mistakes that cost me. Sharing this in hope that someone learns from it and be more wise. When things get better, there can be an upgrade, but when they go worse, let's adjust. Living according to your means is the best thing you can ever do. You cannot help everybody as much as you want to. You must consider yourself too. However, render help when you can, but when you can't, don't be ashamed to say, I'm sorry, but I can't help you right now. Saving is very important. Keeping account of what comes in and what goes out is very important. Money can be said to be something that should be handled with care. You treat it anyhow, it leaves you just anyhow. I hope to still come back and share how I was able to get out of debt and also keep a healthy relationship between myself and my finances, as I'm already working on it. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing this particular story. And if we listen to this story, she literally brought out all the lessons. Like, all I can give is a summary of these 3 experiences. Money is a very sensitive thing to talk about, as I said, because it is something that we cannot do without. Permit me to use that word, right? It's something we can't do without. Like, you can get into trouble with a guy or a girl relationship wise, and you can be advised, stay away from this guy, or stay away from guys in general, stay away from girls in general for a particular time. When you get yourself back, then you can come back into the dating world, and you can actually do it. You can stay away from a guy or a girl for a particular time, and when you've gotten yourself back the way you want to, you can come back into your relationships. You can do that. But it's not the same thing with money. Money is something we use every day. So when you get into problems with money, nobody can tell you stay away from money, because you need to eat, you need to dress, you need to wear clothes, you need to go from one place to another. Even if you decide you won't go anywhere, you need to go to church, you will need to let's not even say you need to go see friends. You need to go look for more money, and looking for more money requires money to be spent. So money is very sensitive. It's something that you just cannot let go of completely. So this is the reason why it's very important that we adjust and just live very, very careful lives when it comes to money. I think the lessons that I can just point out, I'll just list them out and not even try to say so much about them. The first thing is, no matter how much you earn, no matter what comes in, it doesn't even matter, learn to save. Let it be that you don't even know what you are saving. When 1,000 naira comes in, just say, okay, I'm going to save 100 naira. See, you can decide to save 50 naira. You don't owe anybody any explanation as to how much you are saving. If you like, save 10 naira from 1,000 naira that comes in. If that is what you can do that. Sometimes it feels like we're saving very little amount of money, so we're like, how can I be saving 10 naira? What is it going to do? Guys, in 10 days 10 naira is 100 naira. In 20 days 10 naira is 200 naira. In 30 days 10 naira is 300 naira. That's all you need to know, that it is piling and it is increasing. Do you get? That's all you need to know when it comes to saving. Make sure it's a comfortable amount that you can let go of without it affecting your expenses, or without it making you want to tamper with it next time. You get? Let there be a consistency in your saving. Second thing that I picked from this is living within your means. Now, living within your means is, if you're earning 10,000 naira, then make sure that everything you're spending is within 10,000 naira in a month. That is living within your means. Now, if it happens that that month you get 15,000 naira, because consistently 15,000 naira is not what you have been getting, 10,000 naira is what you live with, 10,000 naira is what you've been living within, then try and spend within 10,000 naira. You don't have to quickly upgrade to spending within 15,000 naira, because what, next month you might not get 15,000 naira again. Next month you might come back to 10,000 naira, and the moment you start feeding yourself with the ideas of saving, using 15,000 naira, that's where things begin to get really, really tight for you. Do you get? It doesn't matter the amount of increase that comes overnight. Live within your consistent income. The third thing I'm learning is, please, you came to this world alone, you're gonna die alone, and you're gonna be buried alone, and you're gonna go to heaven alone by God's grace. Please, every man for himself. There's no need to try to impress people. Simple and short. Most cases, these people know that you are struggling. Do you get? These people that you're trying to impress, they already know that you are struggling. You just don't know that they know, but they know. And however you're trying to impress them, they're like, this girl is trying, because we know that things are hard for her already, but she's not trying. And even if they don't know you are struggling, you really are not responsible for anybody's thoughts and opinion and anything. You really should care about yourself a lot more than you care about other people's opinions and how they see you, honestly speaking. Because trying to please people or trying to live up to certain standards and not being able to maintain it can really get you into positions and places that you're not willing to, or you never thought possible. And the funny thing, or the sad thing, is that it happens so fast that before you even get a hang of it, it has happened, and you're like, how did this happen so fast? It just happens really, really fast. So instead of just trying to impress, please just think about yourself and what makes you comfortable and what you can do at a certain time. There is tomorrow, there's next month, there's next year. You can always upgrade and get to do those other things that you want to do. You don't have to do all of them now. Sometimes people don't even notice, honestly speaking. We're the ones that just imagine things and then put expectations on ourselves and then try to meet up those expectations, stressing ourselves and going through so many things. Please, self-love, people, self-love. Just calm down and think about yourself. Just don't bother what people think and what people will say. In a lot of areas, you don't have to do that, okay? Next thing I learned is based on investments, that like we said, it's good to save, but it's even more important to invest, because that is multiplying your money. That is getting your money to work for you. The way you give your all to save, giving your all to investigate and make sure that that thing you want to invest in, it is legit, it is worth it, it will work. Do you get? Sometimes it looks like that. Sometimes we don't know that these things can crumble, but like it said, investment is a risk. It's a very risky thing to do, but it's always worth it at the end. So there are other investments that are very safe. It's just that the returns are not so high, right? So if you can't investigate on investment companies, you can start off with those little investments from the banks that you know that are legit, they will work, but their ROIs are really small. That's the returns on investments are really small. Maybe you get 2%, 3%. Okay, start up with that while you're investigating and trying to find other investments that you can work with. Another thing I'm thinking I can advise is to split your investments, right? Sometimes I think instead of putting all your eggs in one basket, it's good to just put one in a basket, put the other one in a bowl, be cooking the other one in the pot, let the other one be in the fridge. You get just have investments so that, God forbid, if one crashes, at least you know that okay, you still have 3, 4 somewhere and you can quickly do something about them, instead of just heaping all your savings into one investment and it's crashing and you're just left dumbfounded. Next lesson I picked from these stories is in helping people and in receiving help. Now, from the first story, if you can remember, she said one of her greatest motivation about saving is the fact that she doesn't want to ever imagine walking up to a random person to ask for help again, like help as in money. Now, we all find ourselves in certain situations that we might need help from people. Sometimes these things are not out of carelessness, it's just where you find yourself at a particular place in life and you will need help from somebody. If you do need help, by all means ask for help. I think I'm one person that I struggle with asking for help, but I think at some point when I do adjust and get used to you, I can comfortably ask you for help. Like I have certain friends that if they just see my call, they're just waiting for me to tell them what I need. And I am sorry, guys, but I love you like that and you love me like that. Like when you need help, legit, have people that you can comfortably walk up to and ask them for help, and also be open when they ask for help. I think that's one good thing. We help each other. I help them, they help me. So it's not even a thing of anybody using another person. But then be very careful to make sure that you're not just always asking for help from people, because honestly you don't know what people are going through. I know there is this notion we usually have that if a person looks wealthy, or if a person seems wealthy, or if a person is actually wealthy, we suddenly want to take all our problems to the person to solve. And I'm like, do you think that person has stopped living on earth? Do you think that person no longer has things to take care of? In fact, that person has more needs than you, because honestly, maybe your need is just 5,000 naira, 10,000 naira. That person's need is like 1 million naira, and that person needs that 1 million to solve the case, and you're just concerned about your 5k, and this person can afford my 5k. Now imagine he gives 10 people that 5k. He's trying to get his own 1 meal. Do you get? I'm not saying we shouldn't render help because we have needs, but all I'm saying is don't just always keep asking people for help when you don't know what they are going through, what they are struggling. Some people find it really hard to say no, and please, I would advise that those people, please start saying no. Okay, when you can't do something, be comfortable to say no. There is literally no shame in saying, I really cannot help you right now. I know it's easier said than done, don't mind me, but there is really no shame in it. Like, someone comes and asks you for help, and then you are ashamed to say you can't help. I don't know why, especially when you know that honestly you can't help. Instead of putting yourself in messed up situations like going and borrowing, putting yourself in mess because you want to help someone, like, there are life and death situations we know, but sometimes you don't even know what that person needs that money for. Please and please, let's just learn. Everybody is working and trying to survive. Everybody is using money every day. So as much as you find yourself in tight positions, try to find ways to make it work for yourself. And another thing is, try to be patient. Everything passes with time. Like, sometimes it won't end the way we want it to, but the truth of the matter is it will end. You get? So if you are in not a life and death situation and you know that this thing can pass, please be patient and let it pass. You don't have to borrow money from people. You don't have to ask people for money because you feel something is so urgent now. Please, if it's not life and death situation and if you can wait it out, please and please wait it out. When you subsequently are able to afford it, you can now do that thing that you want to do. Please, we don't have to be so quick in trying to meet every single need at that point. Not every need should be met at that point. Please allow some things to pass for your own peace of mind and for your own sanity. Please just let some things pass, because a lot of times we find ourselves in so much debt, and at the end of the day, when you come and look at it, you'll be like, do you know, last this thing was not even that urgent. For say I wait safe, nothing for happen. And then you just put yourself in a fixed spot. Now you're hustling, trying to find money to pay debt, trying to meet your needs, trying to get. Let's just learn to be patient and just allow time take its course. Let some things go. Okay? Then another thing is keeping account. Keeping account is so very important. Keeping account before the money comes, when the money is there, and after the money goes is very, very important. Now, before the money comes, it's called budgeting. You budget for your money and you budget for everything you would like to do. Now, it's important you budget because when the money does come, your mind will not give you suggestions, because it will. Your mind will always give you suggestions of what to do with that money. It seems like all the things you budgeted are not even so important. You just see some fresh things that you need to do now. Please reject that. Keep those fresh things and go back to your budget. Now, when you go back to your budget, you're able to meet your needs on the budget. You're able to just fill up everything, and if you have extra, you'll be able to do other things. Sometimes you may not even meet the whole things on your budget because emergencies might arise, but it's important you have a budget so that when you meet some needs, you know the ones you've met and then you know the ones that are left, because this brain can be very tricky sometimes you forget completely that you have to do something till the money is gone. You'll be like, I was supposed to do this thing. After you spend your money, it's good that you just have a list and try to recall, okay, what and what did I spend this money on, and then compare it to your budget, just so that you know that you are keeping accounts. Make sure that, okay, well, I actually spent my money on everything I said I was going to spend my money on. See, this money comes and goes. The way it comes, that's the way it goes. And if you're not careful, sometimes the money will go and you will sit down and be like, what did I spend this money on? You will list them out and you'll be like, how did I spend all of this money on these things? At that point, it's too late. You just be there imagining, okay, what's next? But the deed has been done. The account helps you to know what is taking your money, because if after 3 months you come and check, okay, what's consistently taking the higher percentage of my money, you'll be like, it's data. Okay, I need to cut on my data. It's airtime. I need to cut on of my data. Okay, you understand? Keeping an account just helps you manage your life better. You'll be able to identify the things that are taking your money more. Okay, why are they taking your money more? Okay, are they productive? Are they the ones that are bringing in money for you or not? You'll be able to cut out some habits, some extravagant spendings and expenses, so you can adjust your life better. Because it will also help you know attitude and characters you need to let go of, and attitudes and character you need to pick up, just so that you adjust your life and just improve everything that has to do with your finances. It's important we do all of these things because our finances affect a lot of the areas of our lives. Your finances can affect the decisions you make. Your finances affect your character. Your finances affect it affects your drive to actually work or to actually do something tangible with your life. Your finances affect it to a great deal. If you see that you're earning little, it can push you to want to work hard and get more. Do you get? If you're earning more, it can still be an encouragement to push you to be like, wow, if I can get this, then that means I can get that. And then it drives your passion to want to make more. And one thing I would say before we go is, please don't feel like you've made terrible decisions and you don't have a comeback. Like, how do you get out of this mess? Don't ever feel like that. See, we've all been in such mess, like in such messes, if I will say it that way. But there is always a comeback. You can always have a comeback. It's just a decision you have to make, and then you don't just make the decision in your mind. You actually put it to work. You have to make sacrifices, deny yourself a lot of things, adjust greatly. Like, it's just a lot of work to be done. But don't ever think that you've made so many mistakes and there is no comeback for you. No, it's not true. Give yourself time, but make sure that within that time you are doing the needful. You're working, you're increasing your level of income, you're reducing your expenses, you're living within your means, you're learning to say no when you know that honestly you cannot do it. You're learning to say no, you're learning to save, you're thinking about investing, you're just doing all the positive things when it comes to money. Read and learn about money. It's very important. Everything that you want to succeed in, you need to study about that thing. So it's not a bad thing for you to read about money. Read books about money. Read books about how people make money, how people use money, how people spend money, how people manage money. Just open your mind, be willing to learn. Just believe that you can get out of whatever financial situation you find yourself in. Don't ever let shame, because there's that you can be ashamed. You can be so ashamed of yourself that you're not able to do certain things that you want to do, and the enemy can use that. When I say the enemy, I mean the devil. Yes, the enemy can use that to just sit on your head and just keep you and not allow you do a lot of things because you feel you're ashamed that you're not able to do certain things because you don't have money or because you have to ask somebody for money. Please, if you need help, find people you can trust to ask for that help, but don't make it a habit. If you get help, try and help yourself and make things better, for yourself. But please don't ever allow the enemy push you into doing anything that will not glorify God. Anything that you know that if you pray to God, you already know that this thing is a no with God. Please try, and don't allow the enemy push you into it just because you need the money now. I will just pray for us and pray that God helps us. God is always there to help us. So our prayer today is that God will help us make smarter and better decisions, right? When it comes to money, it's important that you seek God's help in everything. I know sometimes it's like people don't see God's help when it comes to money. Some people are afraid to pray for money or something like that. I don't know. I think we're allowed to ask God for everything in this life. He created us, He brought us to the world, so He will take care of us. That's just one thing I know. That's one thing I know for a fact. So just be confident enough to ask God when you need help for money. If you need help for money, ask God for money. God, I need money for food. I need money to make my hair. You think God will give you money to make your hair? He knows you're a lady. He knows you have hair. He knows you need to take care of your hair. So you tell God, God, I need money to make my hair. What can I do? Where can I go? How do I get money to make my hair? And listen, He will tell you what to do. So let's just be comfortable to ask Him for help and just be rest assured that He's going to meet or give us that help that we need. Okay? So I really hope that you learned one or two things when it comes to your relationship with money, and I hope that it actually helps you do better when it comes to handling money. I will see you guys in the next episode, but before then, please do well to drop your comments under this video. Please drop your comments. What did you learn, or what are the experiences that you've heard with money, or how do we know investments to go into? Just whatever ideas you have that is centered around money, please do well to drop your comments here so that we can all learn from them and move forward. Thank you so much to every single person that shared their story with us today. We'll keep taking stories both on money and every other area, just so we can learn and grow. And have yourselves an amazing month of March, a very blessed one, and an amazing week. Bye guys.